Fellow sports fans, enthusiasts, pundits, aficionados, if you had to go with, a particular sect that I know in Lagos. Welcome to SOUQ Sports. Stay tuned for 45 minutes of sports stories. Well, the time is reduced, so we've got barely 30 of that. And of course, I'm the top cat, Tici Barrah, bringing you up to speed with what's happening in the world of sports. I got cat number one.
Charlie Montero right here, bringing it as it is hot, even though the weather is cold today.
Is it? I'm sweating.
Yeah.
A bit of pressure, though. And that's as a result of the reports making the rounds suggesting that the Nigerian Football Federation has begun coordinating the repatriation of the Super Eagles to Nigeria after the players unanimously decided to pull out of the second leg match against Libya. Now, they've cited considerable hardship and inconvenience that they've had to endure during their stay in Libya. Now, according to the update from Libya, the president of the country's football association, Abdulkahim Shamani, on Sunday afternoon submitted his resignation letter after their loss to Nigeria. I wonder if we could put up the video of that particular match, the highlights where Bashiru did score, an 86th-minute goal from a cross from Moses Simon to give coach Augustine Eguavon his 15th victory in charge of Nigeria over 25 matches. He handed the Super Eagles all 3 points against Libya. If you see that clip there coming from Moses on the left flank, beating the left half or the right half back of the Libya national team, and then Bashiru slotted beautifully, to give Nigeria all 3 points at the Godswill at Fabio Stadium in Uyo. The Mediterranean Nines, who defended strongly in number, came close to earning the points at the Godswill at Fabio Stadium, but the absence of Victor Osimhen did not deter the Super Eagles from doing the needful. I mean, in as much as they left it late. We had the Victor Boniface who started in front, but the Germany-based striker failed to find his first goal in competitive match for Nigeria. And of course, the impressive goalkeeper Murad Abubakar excelled as much, blocking balls from all parts of his body. We also saw a form of delay tactics coming from him as well, talking about the Libyan goalkeeper. But the Eagles continue to stay at top of the pool with 1 point ahead of Benin Republic's Cheetahs, who routed Rwanda's Amavubi 3-0 in another match, there. Victory for the Eagles, in Benin tomorrow will virtually seal the ticket to the 35th African Cup of Nations finals in Morocco, with the Cheetahs also to join if they overcome the Amavubi in their own return in Kigali. But with the latest development from, of course, Captain William Troost-Ekong saying that the Super Eagles will be boycotting that particular game. Series of stories on Instagram stating that they're not going to take part in that game. But just before I get you in, we do have Patrick Ngwogo, who is a former vice chairman, FCT Football, joining us virtually. Patrick Ngwogo, if you're standing by, good afternoon to you. Feels like morning here. Good afternoon to you, Patrick. Have you, sir? Okay, probably you just adjust your camera into focus because it feels like you're so close to the camera. And of course, you're following the development. Yes, indeed. You're following the developments. What do you make out of it?
Well, the development is barbaric, if I will use that language, because when the Libyans came to Nigeria, they complained that they were not well treated or well received by the NFF. And the NFF replied immediately to tell them that they were the cause of the whole thing. They gave them they gave them they were keeping their itinerary all through that period secret, and they were waiting for them at Uyo airport while they landed in Port Harcourt. There was this issue that the Libyans were not happy about it, and they said they are going to revenge when Nigeria comes over to their place. Well, on Sunday, when the Eagles were about to land, they told them that they had to redirect the flight to another airport, a smaller airport. And since that yesterday, the Eagles are still stranded in that airport, which is about 2 hours from that place to the venue of the match in Benghazi.
Mr. Patrick, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you're watching the video on another platform. If you can turn the volume down so we could hear you, because we're getting a bit of a hold back. Another platform.
Hello? Can I hear you clearly now?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead now.
Okay. Now, I think the whole thing is boiled down to CAF, because the Super Eagles players have vowed that they are not going to play the match. Even because playing that match, when you are host, you are not well received. The reception was so hostile. Will also, who knows what will happen on the pitch of play. I think that is why the players are saying that they are not going to play. And the federal government seems to be backing them, considering what the Minister of Sports just said, where he said that the interest of the boys supersedes the 3 points. So, and the government is making effort to bring them back home. Well, the whole thing will now depend on CAF. Yes, CAF has confirmed that everything, that they are following all the development, and be that as it may, they will take their decision. But for me, I would prefer the Nigerian boys to return back to Nigeria safely and let CAF take their decision the way they want to take it. Maybe to reschedule the match for another country or whatever decision they want to take. And let's see the punishment that will go to the Libyans.
Okay, so let me bring you in. What does this mean for Nigeria boycotting that game, forfeiting a possible 3 points or 1 point that could have accumulated to them? And then what does it mean for the qualifications for the African Cup of Nations to be held in Morocco?
Well, I think AFCON qualifiers will still have 2 more matches after this. But before you can play a football match, you need to be alive first. The people who are keeping you at the airport for 15 hours, and they are keeping you for 15 hours. What is their intention? And what will be the follow-up? The hostile environment at the stadium will be another thing entirely. And the boys, the match is just tomorrow, less than 24 hours, and you are subjecting them to that kind of environment. But I think the 3 points, to me now, doesn't matter. Let them take it if they want to take it. And if it becomes worse, they play their tournament. Nobody dies. The life of the boys are more important. But where I thought the Libyans were not happy when they came to Nigeria, I think the NFL should have sent an advance party to go and prepare the ground, or using the Nigerian embassy in Libya, if there is anyone like that, to get things sorted out early enough before the arrival of the team. So I don't know. I know they used to do that in the past, but I don't know if that measure was taken at all.
Out of the initial accusation that Nigerian officials had treated the Libyan players, with such in the same vein, because Ademola Olajire from the NFF Communications Department had put out the press release trying to explain what really transpired after pictures surfaced online that Libyan players were stranded. So Ademola had said that the plane from Libya was supposed to fly directly to Yo, but 3 hours to their landing or arrival said they were going to be landing in Port Harcourt, and arrangements were not made prior for them to be received at Port Harcourt, and hence they had to be there for a couple of hours. Could this just be an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of scenario playing out here?
That is exactly what the Libyans are doing. since you can keep us waiting at the airport, we can also do the same thing. I think the whole thing boils down to this North Africans mentality. We Nigerian teams have received so many of such threats in the past. I will know that, was it last year or 2 years ago, Anambra was treated and deprived of the opportunity of playing in the Champions League because they entered either Algeria or Morocco. They were going, and they said they don't have one thing or the other, and they were deprived the opportunity, and CAF stood by by their rules by depriving anybody the 3 points. So I don't know. They are not Africans. They have their edge. CAF headquarters is in North Africa, and we as English-speaking African country, we are always at the receiving end. So it's a 2-by-2. Don't be surprised if the Libyans have their way all through.
Let me move on now. We had a scenario that played out during the qualifications ahead of the Godswill at Babi Stadium, where the NFF even went on to confirm the tragic incident in which a SuperSports crew member and the police officer were fatally shot. They were on their way to cover the Super Eagles 2025 qualifiers, that game against Libya. So NFF has confirmed that the victims were ambushed at Ihala or Lu Road in Anambra State. That was on Tuesday, 8th of October, while they were traveling to cover the game, which ended 1-0. And it's a sad scenario. Well, the attack on the bus carrying the crew members had the police officer and even the driver, including members of the crew, were also, hit in that particular incident. I don't know what you make out of it, owing to someone who also has a media background. I mean, you're an integral member of the media community in Nigerian sports.
Well, it's very pathetic at that situation because these are journalists who owns nothing. They only are working for an organization and going to do their normal duties. Trying to kidnap them, thereby shooting 3 of them dead, is pathetic. I felt for their families because I normally see that journalists are just doing their normal duties. And people are excited to go to watch the Super Eagles and do the job there. And that is exactly what these people are going to do in Uyo. Journalists, in most of these cases, are endangered species because much protection is not given to them. I remember vividly when I told my late father I want to venture into journalism. He now shouted, I say, "Hey, oh boy, you want to become a cock?" I say, "Cock?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Yes, when you are a cock, a journalist is just like a cock. And when the community is in order, they will tell the cock to go and announce to the whole community that things are in order. And when the community gets bad, they will use the cock to do the sacrifice to appease the gods." So that is exactly who a journalist is in our Nigerian setting, where nothing is secured. So I feel for the family. I feel for even the NFL president. I remember chatting with him. He said he's so bitter about what happened on that day. So,
way to wrap up this conversation, the NPFL 2024-2025 season is on the way. We've seen set videos from some quarters. Some teams have been able to put up highlights. The coverage we expected from the league organizers and the NPFL has not been very, very smooth. No, it hasn't. And as such, we've seen just mostly pictures making the rounds, keeping up with the same old pattern of online and print media, which is pictures and text. Videos have been lacking. Coverage of these games has not been in our power, but we've just had little scanty of these clips making the rounds. And, it doesn't just point to a full coverage of the games of the NPFL. As a way of wrapping up the show, I wonder what you would advise. What would you, prefer as a solution? What would you suggest?
Well, we'll need to tell the NPFL to do more because football is a media game and everybody wants to see the games and what the home league is all about. It is not about the European League and foreign leagues altogether. If we have our league fully on television, people will pick more interest. But the issue now is with the present security situation in the country, who will vouch out, who will stick out his neck to go to cover matches in certain areas with some of these, what I would call the endangered equipment, OB van and what have you, traveling long distance. So let us make do with what the NPFL can provide for us now until such a time when the country is so secured for us to have a full coverage, television coverage of matches.
Thank you very much, Patrick Ngwogu, for joining us on the show. We look forward to having more conversations with you and hopeful that the impasse between Nigeria and Libya will be resolved as soon as possible, and we see how it goes as regards the qualifications.
Thank you very much, Barra. I think you understand that Libya is already used to such thing. They don't move. I remember in the past, those who were around then will tell you that there was a time Libya and Egypt, they don't play football together. They don't even do anything sports together. But it will come to pass and the better thing will be done.
Thank you so much, and do have a lovely day. Well, meanwhile, Burkina Faso have confirmed their place at the 2025 African Cup of Nations, and this follows their 2-0 victory over Burundi on Sunday in a qualifying fixture. Bertrand Traore and Mohamed Konate scored the goals for the Stallions in Abidjan. Senegal will be joining Burkina Faso in Morocco next year if they win in Malawi on Tuesday. Morocco, on the other hand, have an automatic participant ticket, and that's at the next African Cup of Nations as host nation. They're playing the qualifiers for just competitive match practice. Well, some of the games that have been played in the African Cup of Nations qualification fixtures, what do you make out of them, and of course the Nigeria situation?
Well, starting with the Nigeria situation, it's really sad, really. Putting those boys through that kind of scenario, like I can't even start to imagine what was going through their mind. You see pictures of them sleeping on the couch, sleeping on the ground, uncomfortable scenes. I don't know what the idea behind that from the Libyan point of view is, but I just feel like they should get it resolved as fast as they can. They should also find, a way to end this whole beef. I wouldn't call it a beef, but end this whole back and forth with it. I don't know how CAF would adjourn the situation or judge the situation, but I feel like they should, met out punishment for what Libya is doing, because it looks like a deliberate, act of trying to delay these boys playing mind games, because mind game is one, big part of the game, but it all seems very unnecessary. If you ask me, it seems very unnecessary, and they should.
Nigeria leaving it late to win that game would have put a huge blow. They thought they could have gotten a point.
Yeah, even from the antics that the keeper was portraying, you see him go down. I counted 5 to 6 times he went down, unnecessary, unwarranted, and you see those kind of things. They have an agenda. They are bottom of the table of the standing in that group, and they are trying to do whatever is possible for them to gain points. But this is not the way. Come on the pitch and play football. That is how you win games. So I am looking at all the matches that have been played in the AFCON qualification. You see that underwhelming performances also from Senegal, and you see Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon becoming high flyers and getting their maximum points with beautiful display of football. And also when you look at also the Ivory Coast team, also not convincing, but grinding out the win. Look at Morocco, high flying as well. So I just feel like the games have not panned out the way we spectators want, but you see that those side that you back to win have also gone through and brought grinded out the result. So yeah.
Well, Nigeria will be hoping to see if they're going to play that match or not. But then the Flamingos, Nigeria's female under 17 team, are in Dominican Republic. They've arrived in the Caribbean nation, um, pipped in Group A. They will face New Zealand on Wednesday, the 16th day of October 2024, when that competition gets underway with match day one. We saw them in I think a friendly game against Mexico. That's a couple of days ago. Trying to strengthen the squad, trying to ensure that they're in shape ahead of the tournament. We've had successive tournaments, participating as much as 7 times, right?
Yeah.
As against New Zealand, who have participated 8 times. But then the closest we've come, I think it was a quarterfinal finish or so. So we're hoping that they better their last outing. They seem like they're in a high spirit. They seem like they're in good stead, and we believe that the results will speak. What do you make out of that?
Well, the results that they have been able to gather out from their friendlies, it shows positivity. You see them play with enthusiasm. You see that they know what they want to do. They know their aims. They know what they want to set out to achieve. I just feel like they have the wings. They have wind under their wings, and they should fly really. And they should go out there and make us proud. We would definitely be cheering for them, and we'll definitely be watching their games, hoping that they go as far as as they want to, as they have set out to. And I hope that they come back with because when you look at the under 17 category, we have always succeeded in that category, especially from the male side. So we would like to see that mirror over to the female side and get the desired win at the end.
Well, let's see how that goes. Wednesday, we'll be bringing you up to speed with the preview of that game because it will be played on Wednesday. Now, we'll be going to the NPFL. We've got very few minutes left on the show. It was a dominant performance as Ikorodu picked up their first ever win in the NPFL and the first at home as well after hitting 3 unrelated goals past Bendel Insurance, which was the March day 2024-2025 fixture. Great stuff coming from them. In the absence of head coach due to the resignation of Bright Ozebabe, assistant coaches Nuruddin Awero, Ali Kandili, Bello Adebayo, and Sharif Salami took charge of the team. 5 changes were made to the side that made the trip to Jos. Aina was in goal for the first time this season of his NPFL debut. Tosin and Ayoko didn't travel to Jos, but were in the starting team for this one. Leonard Anarade, who made the bench in the previous game, got the nod to start this time. The second half started like the first ended, and it took only 3 minutes into it to, find the opening goal. 6 minutes later, Kelechi added a second for his first goal in the NPFL. A long throw from Tosin was flicked backwards. Midfielder and goalkeeper lost control as the ball crept into the goal to double the lead for the Oga boys. And he's Toyib take a beautiful run, 10 minutes to make his mark. A long cross from Waliu was fumbled by the goalkeeper and he nicked off Review as he was about to strike, but it fell kindly for Toyib, who, still had some work to do and found the back of the net. We're supposed to put up those goals for you to see how it did, but maybe subsequently, you would put it up for you. Remo Stars regained the leadership of the NPFL after they dumped Nasra United 3-0. Previously, the Rivers United were held at Katsina United. We saw a great game coming from Remo Stars, managing, what they had in terms of players, because they were without their coach. He was on international duty, talking about Ogumo Dede. So they now have 15 points from 6 matches, a point ahead of their closest rival, Rivers United, who currently remain unbeaten after a goalless draw at Katsina United. Then you have second half goals by Sikura Alimi, Stanley Joseph, and Sadiq Ismail, which were enough for Remo to outscore Nasra United 3-0 in the Kenne now singing like a slaughterhouse. You're watching the clips, you see how they kept pouncing, knocking on the door of Nasara United's goal end. I mean, massive distribution of ball. You wonder what Ogumodede has told these boys, and they are not relenting for any reason whatsoever in their quest to continue to dominate the NPFL 2024-2025 season with these performances.
I mean, those are performances that you should expect for a league that a team that wants to win the league. Week in, week out, every game you make sure that you go there, try and get the win, no matter how difficult the opposition seems to, when you talk about champions, you find a way to win, no matter how tight the game is. Whether you see it in Man City, you see it in the Arsenal team, you find a way to win. That is the stuff that is made of champions. You find a way to win, and they have reasserted their dominance in the league. They have reasserted their position, and 3 goals against Nasarawa United is huge. And for them to go out and make a statement, I feel like it's a statement win, and going back to the top of the league and showing every other person that this is what they want, and they have started right, and trying to get it is very, very important.
Well, Aqua United turned back Kano Pillars by 2-0. Niger Tornadoes salvaged the 1-all home draw at the death with Lobby Stars under a new coach, former Super Eagles international Daniel Amokachi. We saw Abia Warriors Pip Kwara United 1-0. Feeling like they have recovered from that very close home away loss to the Flying Antelopes in Enugu. So Sunday Megwo, who found the back of the net in the 76th minute. The game was completed on Sunday morning after rainfall forced the game to be postponed from Saturday afternoon. We saw a league kickoff game between Shooting Stars and Enyimba International and goalless. That game was massive. I mean, they cancelled themselves out from beginning to end, with both teams possessing a player from the other side. I mean, Enyimba had a former Shooting Star player. Shooting Stars had like 3 former Enyimba players, and both traditional sides, give us something worthy in the NPFL. So Remo 3, Nasarawa 0, Katsina Rivers goalless, Tornado and Lobby 1-0. Lobby beats Bayelsa beat Play 2 by a lone goal. We saw Academy and Heartland playing goalless. Heartland picking up an away point there. Manuel Amnike led Nazi Millionaires. Just because of want of time, let's rush over and tell you that England recovered from the embarrassing UEFA Nations League loss to Greece at Wembley, but were still not totally convincing as they finally overcame Finland in Helsinki. We saw the interim manager, Leo Castley, make 6 changes from the side against Greece, with goalkeeper Jordan Pickford replacing by Dean Henderson. But England failed to sparkle until the side ranked 64th in the world and without a point ran out of steam. They called Jack Grealish, settled early England nerves with a goal, a full finish from Angel Gomez's excellent pass in the 18th minute, and Finland missed chances to put Castley and his side under further pressure before Trent Alexander-Arnold saw the back of the net with a late free kick. Declan Rice scored from close range with 6 minutes left to give the scoreline a more satisfactory appearance, but then Finland were able to draw one back, which ended 3-1. Moving really quickly from there, we saw some of the games in the United Nations League. We saw some of the games where we, I think it was
Netherlands.
Netherlands. We saw some of the games there. Finland had, come out to protest England, but then we saw other games where I was surprised at this outcome or the score line that came through in those games. And then you wonder, if lesser teams can actually contest against the big teams there.
Well, you look at the game between Austria. You look at the game between Austria, and you see how Austria were able to demolish that side, and you see the way they 5-goal thriller, like they went all out. Haaland did not have a response for them, and they were able to just kill the game right from the beginning. You see them mount pressure against their opponent and try to take the game to the side and just finish the game early. We see the same results across every other game, and just tells you how intense the Nations League is, and no matter how we try to call it, it's very, very, very intense.
Well, Hermel Hagmison says he wants the Republic of Ireland to show a bit of more belief, in the games that they suffered the third defeat in 4 matches as manager um, of that side, lost to Greece 2 goals to nil. Now, the Irish were outplayed in the first half in Athens, with Hamilton's side sparking into life only after falling behind to Tarsus. Kazakhstan lost to Slovenia by a lone goal. Austria beats Norway, massive scoreline, which is what you were talking about, 5 goals to 1. And some of these games we see in the United Nations League just gives us a wonder. I mean, some of the players who are in the various top flights are unable to replicate some of the forms, for the nations. And someone who might just be missing for his national team is Lamine Yamal. He will not be available for the game with Serbia on Tuesday, and that's in a bid to prevent further injuries coming to him. He had an MRI scan on Sunday and returned to his club after withdrawing from Spain's camp. Now, the test did not reveal anything, serious structural injury to him, just a muscle strain. But then they would want to just rest him so that he's not a problem.
When you have the El Clasico knocking, in front, I feel like they are just trying to keep this player. He's more or less like their shining light at the moment at Barcelona. I don't think there's any other person that does it as better as he does at the moment. So they're just trying to protect him, which is good. We saw also when you talk about injury-prone players, so Kylian Mbappe not showing up for the French side because he was trying to keep his preserve himself to better perform for Real Madrid. So you see that the calendar is choked. So players are trying to more or less protect themselves and just try to manage the game time they have and try to perform for their team, their club side as much as they would for their country side. So I just feel it's the mentality and it's also the approach to games, which ones they can win and which one they want to, just try and manage. So I think we'll see more of these concerns as time progresses.
Oh, because we're practically out of time, I'll let you know that we might not be able to take so much from the footballing scene, but Mauricio Pochettino was in charge of the United States, just over the weekend. And we saw Luis Suarez also criticizing the coach of Uruguay at the moment, and that sparked some sort of social media outrage back and forth.
We all know how biased Bielsa is. When he was at Crystal Palace and also at what was the name of the club that is in Ligue 1 now, you see the way he likes his players to play on the front foot, intense, always. Everybody is
off the pitch.
I feel it's just a way to keep the togetherness of the players.
And then you're asking staff not to eat with players.
Well, I feel that's a bit extreme when you talk about it, because you have to really have this communication between the staff and the players for them to come in a cheerful environment. But we all know Bielsa is front foot football at all times, man marking, one man against one man, or 1v1, and he has prevailed in that tactic. So Suarez coming out to criticize the coach now that has been successful both in the Spanish and the English Premier League. So I just feel it's more or less him dribbling out of the game. He's nearing retirement and he can't keep up, and saying that he's dividing the team. And I would like a second opinion on that from Suarez. I mean, another person from the team should come out and say, so that's when we would say take it seriously.
If you're still an integral part of the team, you might not want to say so, but that's discussion for now today. Just as we wrap up, Novak Djokovic missed the opportunity to claim the 1,000th title of his stellar career as Jannik Sinner won a high-quality Shanghai Masters final. And he did pay a special tribute to Roger Federer, and his old rival turned up to watch his Shanghai Masters. On the other hand, Aryna Sabalenka became the first player to win the Wuhan Open 3 times with a hard-fought win over Zheng Qinan in Sunday's final. So we wrap up, fine in Asia. What do you make out of those scenes?
Well, I feel like
Novak could have just, it could have been historic.
It could have been a historic moment, but we know the quality Sinner possesses. I mean, he's been able to come to qualify for these finals, but in and out of seasons. Even in this season, he's been 7 times Grand Slam champion, and you see that he possesses quality. I would say he's a player at the peak of his career, while Djokovic is dwindling at the moment. You see him struggling with injury throughout the season, and I just feel like it's a deserved win for Sinner. Back-to-back set wins. I think 7-6 and 6-3. So I feel it's a deserved win, but Djokovic should just go back to the drawing board. You see, he rendered kind words for Djokovic. He should come back stronger next year, and I hope he will.
Well, we hope to come back stronger by Wednesday, 1 p.m. God willing, when we come back, we'll come with more stories and, of course, a preview of the game between Nigeria and New Zealand, match day one of the under 17 Women's World Cup going down in Dominican Republic. My name is Tici Barrah, and the top card I've had
Charlie Montero here.
Yes, Charlie, it's been great being here with you and looking forward to more sessions. Thank you so much, and do leave us your comments, your thoughts. I mean, of course, the predictions over the weekend were massive. We'll let you know on social media if Nigeria will be playing that game. So look out for that information on social media platform. Many thanks to everyone who has ensured that you can watch, receive us clear. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon. Bye.